So in this video, I want to discuss how to find solutions to a quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. And the nice thing about the quadratic formula is it can be used to solve any type of equation. So sometimes you're going to get these imaginary numbers, and sometimes you're going to get equations that don't factor. So when that occurs, we want to use the quadratic formula. And the quadratic formula is just this. It's x equals negative b, or the opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all of this divided by 2 times a. And so every equation, first off, has to be set equal to 0 and has to be of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we want to get everything like that. We want to identify a, b, and c. And we notice here on these equations right now, we have this in the form already. This first equation is already in that form, ax squared plus bx plus c. So we'll identify a, b, and c. So your a value here is just equal to the number in front of x squared, which is just a 1. Your b value is the number in front of x, which is a -7. And your c value, the number in the back, the constant, is equal to -10. You take their signs too. So we'll go ahead and start to solve the formula. X is equal to the opposite of b. So the opposite of a -7 is a +7, plus or minus the square root of b squared. So you're going to do -7 squared minus 4 times your a value, which is 1, times your c value, which is -10. And we're going to divide all of this by 2 times your a value, which in this case is 1. So we're going to start cleaning things up inside of here first. We want to clean up the square first. So we'll have x is equal to, again, the opposite of b, plus or minus. When you clean up this right here, you're going to get a positive number. That will always be positive when you square it, so that'll be a 49. And then you're going to work this part right here. And so that's 4 times 1 times -10. That's a -40. And you have this minus thing on the front. So it'll be a minus a -40, which makes it a +40. All of it divided by 2 times 1, which is just 2. So now we can clean this up even further. X is equal to 7 plus or minus the square root of 49 plus 40 is 89, divided by 2. So your next step is to try to simplify this if it can be simplified. And what I mean by that is you're going to try to find factors of 89 that are perfect squares. In this case, there are no factors of 89 that are perfect squares, so your solutions are simple. You can separate the solutions and write it as 7 plus the square root of 89 divided by 2, or you can write it as 7 minus the square root of 89 divided by 2. But this plus or minus right here just means you have two solutions. One is a positive solution, or the plus solution. One is a minus solution. So let's look at the next one. Again, we're going to identify A and B. So A is equal to number in front of X, which is 1. B is the number in front of the X, which is -4. And C is the number in the back, the constant, which is 6. So we'll plug into our formula. X is equal to the opposite of B. So that'll be 4 plus or minus the square root of B squared. So that'll be a -4 squared minus 4 times A times C. All of that divided by 2 times A. So here we get X equal to 4 plus or minus the square root of, and remember, this is number right here. This number right here will always be positive. So -4 squared is just 16 minus. And if you notice this, you're doing this part again. 4 times 1 times 6, which is a +24. We should have that minus, so it'll be a -24. divided by 2 times 1, which is just 2. Cleaning that up, I get x equal to 4 plus or minus 16 minus 24 is the square root of a negative 8. Have to divide that by 2. Now, this negative 8, anytime you have a square root of a negative number, you have to pull out the I. And so when we pull the I out here, we're going to get 4 plus or minus I square roots of 8 divided by 2. And so the way this works is the square root of 8 actually simplifies into a square, which is the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. You can multiply those back. 4 times 2 is 8, where the square root of 4 is just the number 2. So here's what you get now. In the end, you get 4 plus or minus 2I square roots of 2 divided by 2. And we can actually clean this up because now you have a 4 being divided by a 2. You have a 2 being divided by a 2. You can't divide the number inside of here, but you can divide the number on the outside. So when we clean it up, we get 2 plus or minus 2 divided by 2 is 1I square roots of 2. And so you can write that as 2 plus I root 2 or 2 minus I root 2. On the next one, again, you're written in the form already. So you have A, B, and C. Your A is equal to 3. Your B here. Your B is equal to 4. And your C is equal to a negative 5. So here we go. X is equal to the opposite of B, negative 4, plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C. All of this divided by 2 times A. So we calculate this. X equals negative 4. Cleaning up on the inside is we're going to get 16 minus 4 times 3 times 5. So I'm doing all of this now. And that is a negative 60, but you have that right there, so it'll be a positive 60. All over 2 times 3, which is 6. So we have negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 plus 60 is 76 divided by 6. Square root of 76 has 76 can be broken into these factors, 4 and 19, where 4 is a square, so that's just a 2. So this actually equals negative 4 plus or minus 2 square roots of 19 divided by 6. And then again, we can start to clean things up because these are divisible fractions all right here. 4, 2, and 6 all have a 2 in common, so I get negative 2 plus or minus negative 2 plus or minus, and then I get the 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that'll just be the square root of 19, and then 2 divided by 6 is 3. So my solutions are negative 2 plus square root of 19 divided by 3, or negative 2 minus square root of 19 divided by 3.